Ready, everybody? Elaine, ready? Okay, welcome to the Essex Junction Trustee meeting. Please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody, and if you haven't signed in, please do so. And our first order of business, Mr. Manager,
Yes, sir.
any agenda additions?
Yes, we do. We have a Steam Fest presentation, and that is going to be under Old Business 5A.
Mm-hmm.
We have an invitation for you to attend the CUSI and the CC Advocacy Center Open House on Tuesday, December 5th. There will be refreshments, but the 8th tree lighting and train hop ad. And did you get the agenda for this meeting on December 2nd?
No.
Okay.
This is the meeting for the meeting.
Yes.
Well, wasn't it in the packet?
Yeah, it was in our
Oh, you may have got
packet.
it.
It's in our packet. It's
Yeah.
just- okay.
Like
Okay.
in that email we got.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's a
Okay.
separate thing, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we have that.
Then that is it.
Okay, do I hear a motion?
Let it go to, no.
Move we
There you
approve the
go.
agenda as amended?
Elaine seconds, all in favor?
Aye. We've done it.
Opposed?
I
Okay,
know.
great, that's agenda. All right, so our first order of business, comments from the public. Anyone have a question, comment that's not on the agenda tonight? No? Good? Okay. So our first order of business is an interview, an opening on the Brownell Board of Trustees. And Joseph?
Yeah,
Is
sure.
is that your, why don't you come on up here and have a seat
Sure.
next to Andrew?
Thanks.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
And we'll go around the board and introduce ourselves. Start with Andrew,
I'm Andrew. Andrew, nice to meet you.
Hi, Lori Houghton.
Yeah.
Elaine Sopchak.
George Tyler.
Dan Karen.
That's right out.
Lauren Morris,
Why not? So, welcome, and so we got this, and we really appreciate you stepping forward and expressing your interest. And so you have a little bit of knowledge and understanding of the Brownell Library already. So
Yeah, I've attended the last couple of meetings as a guest. My neighbor is Ann Wadsworth, and she's on the trustees.
Uh-huh.
And I'm friends with Andy Kobus, who's also on the trustees, so I've heard a bit about what they do from them.
Reading this, we were talking earlier, you seem to have some pretty substantial library experience already. Do you want to talk, just to highlight that for us really quick?
Sure, it's probably not traditional library experience.
Well,
but
it's okay.
Yeah, so I worked for about 15 years for the Columbia University Libraries.
Mhm.
In human resources, I was their labor relations specialist. They had about 250 unionized staff members. And then I also did recruitment for both staff and librarian positions.
Mm-hmm.
And as a member of Human Resources, I was involved in a lot of the administrative type issues that would come up. So very different, a large academic library system
Yeah.
compared with a community public library, but also probably a lot of similarities.
Well, yeah, but you've got a lot of experience that
Yeah.
they could tap into if necessary, so,
Uh-huh.
yeah. Want to tell us about your interest in the Brownell, why you want to step up to it?
Sure. I'm a heavy user of it. Also, I have 2 children who have reached the age where they spend a lot of their time reading, so we go there on a weekly basis to get books for them. I have a 7-year-old and an 8-year-old who will turn 9 next week. So, again, heavy library users. Really enjoy Brownell as well as all the local libraries, but Brownell is our village library. So
Yep.
I wanted to help contribute and make it a better place.
Yeah.
Can you teach your 9-year-old teach my 9-year-old that it's fun to read?
Yeah.
In my household.
No, it's actually to the point now where sometimes I have to drag the book out of her hands, which is a great problem to have.
Yes, that is.
However, there are times when you're trying to get out the door when it
Yeah.
can be
It's
frustrating.
hard to say as a parent, stop reading.
Yeah.
I wouldn't know that, but I'm sure it's
Yeah.
Can I ask which, is this is an appointed position for someone who has stepped down? Is that correct? And you're filling a position until
My
election?
understanding, it would be an interim position until the election in
Yes.
April, and that they
Okay.
currently have 2 vacancies,
Two
I believe.
vacancies. Who has stepped
They had
down?
one when I first started going to the meetings, and then they just recently had somebody step down because she took a job at the library as another.
Oh,
intern.
yes, Penny.
Penny,
Mhm.
right,
Oh, really?
okay,
Oh, I didn't realize that. Okay.
makes
Yeah.
sense, okay. So this is for an elected position, not one of the appointed ones?
That's my
Right,
understanding.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, well, Dan, Andrew, any other questions? Do you have any questions for us, anything you want to talk to us about?
I don't think so. I think they've given, going to the meetings was helpful to get an idea of what the day-to-day life of a trustee is like. And, I think, again, it's something that would, I'd really like to step forward and help out with.
Yeah, well, it's a great board, it's not unique for community libraries to have boards, but it's not all of them have them, and it's great that we do have it because it's such a human service, community service thing. It's hard for us to know, the trustees, what's actually going on, so that board is a lot closer to the action, and they can make better decisions and better funding decisions of where they're gonna direct their funds and resources and so forth. So it's great, it's a lot of fun, obviously. It's just a nice board to be on.
We had fun.
Oh, yeah.
We were
Yeah.
both trustees,
Okay.
so.
Yeah.
You were too, George?
Hmm?
You were a trustee too?
Yes, I was,
Wow.
and I had to step down because of a job, so,
Oh, I
yeah,
didn't
it
realize
happens. Yeah. So, any other questions?
Thank you for stepping
Okay.
in.
Yeah, we
Thanks for
really
stepping
appreciate
in.
you stepping forward and exactly right.
It's a great board and a great library.
It is a great
Yeah,
one.
it's a great one. Yeah, so, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do have to ask a technical question because I don't see the actual appointment question on the agenda tonight. Do we make the appointment tonight?
Yes, you can, if you so desire.
Okay.
Do we need to amend the agenda to include a selection?
Why don't we go ahead and stumble through it, and then if
Why
we
don't
find
we-
that it's wrong, then we can redo it.
Yeah, I would say that at this particular item, you're interviewing for Brownell Library Board trustee, there's a person who was being interviewed. I would imagine that it's in the business section of the meeting, and so if you decided to go into executive session to discuss it, you have personnel covered. If you wish to simply make a motion and a decision tonight, I believe that you are fully within your rights to do so. And,
Okay.
Dave Barrett can correct me tomorrow
Fine.
if we are wrong, and we'll be back, but I'm quite sure you can do this.
Fine, then I will make a motion that, seeing that there are no other candidates for the position, and we have an excellent candidate available, I would make a motion that we appoint Merritt Joseph Knox to the Essex Junction Brownell Library for the remainder of a term that will end in April and for an elected position.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Congratulations. Okay.
It's the shortest term ever.
Well, hopefully you'll run again.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It'll be a good experience. Thank you.
Don't forget to pick up your petition.
Yeah.
Good point.
Okay. We are now on to old business, Steamfest 2017, 2018 with Julie Miller-Johnson. Julie, you want to join us?
Sure,
Welcome.
thank you.
And I heard great things, by the way. I think you probably have, but I'll tell you that. I just heard so many good things about it all. So many people were happy with how it all turned out.
Yeah, really
That's
well
great, and
done.
that's part of what, I felt like, as you guys gave us sort of our starting money, I wanted to come back and sort of give you a short,
Mhm.
sort of a thank you, first of all, and then just a short sort of presentation, and then I'll follow up with like my plans for next year. So this is 2 minutes in length.
Sure.
I'm not a movie producer.
Take your
This is-
time.
This could be your first debut.
So bear with me, anyway. No sound?
tell you.
It's not worth it. I don't,
It's okay, we can handle it.
I'll just turn it. Just turn the volume off.
Those are the best, those pinball boxes.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see those.
Those are
Oh,
the, those
I
are the
am-
steam
It's on my
pods.
list.
And that was the music, electronic music. That guy had never been to a market before, the steampunk guy. He was totally into it.
That's great.
I have to admit, I missed a lot of the musicians.
Yeah, I didn't see any of the musicians.
I'll just do it. Much better with the music.
Yeah. I love it. Who took all the pictures?
Sarah Hobson, she's a town,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, resident.
Okay.
The music was by one of the music coordinator who arranged all of the music
Oh,
for
okay.
Friday night.
Wow.
It was her. Yes, anyway. So
Nice.
I wanted you guys, now I gotta make sure nothing else
Starts.
Yeah, so, you know, it was a really fun experience, and the community seemed to respond well to it, and I had just some basic, I did a survey, I didn't put it out until probably a month after the event happened, so I didn't get the response, and I got, 25 some people who responded as visitors, and we were just mostly interested in the tenor of the response. So, one of the questions we asked was whether people came Friday or Saturday or both, and it was really interesting that it was pretty even split. And that we asked people what their overall experience was at the festival, and the responses. Some were, the adults and kids in our group had a great time, it was fantastic. The scouts selling hot cocoa had fun, and all the events were really great. I liked it, especially the music. I was impressed. Great vendor turnout, community involvement, positive atmosphere, good artists, possibly under-promoted. And then for participation, we asked people how many people stopped to eat, and about half the people who came stopped to eat.
At local
Local
restaurants.
restaurants. And on Saturday, we asked how many people actually purchased anything. And more than half of the people who came said they purchased things. And I also know that when we met with, we walked around and talked to all of the vendors we had selling on Saturday, and they all were super pleased that it was like a new market for them, and they all did very well. And they all said they would come back. So we asked where people came from, who came, and most, more than half came from Essex Junction. Another third came from the town outside the village, and then there was a few others that came. I think I don't have my color version in front of me. You guys know what? I think it was Underhill and other. And then we asked people if they came from as a family, and most people did come as a family, which I think reflects our community, that it was curious. And we asked people if they thought that, this festival made them feel differently about Essex. And, more than a third said that they did. And so we said, if so, how? And people said, well, it expands the vision of possibilities. They said what it did was enforce their belief that the Junction was a vibrant community with a lot of cool stuff happening. It was a larger arts community than expected, and that they were so proud to see my little town embracing and, more importantly, creating and sharing art, food, and culture. And then I just had a few other comments that people gave. One person shared the anecdote that the event attracted so many people that the restaurants were super packed. And by the time they found some place with a table, it was pretty late. So it's a good story and a bad story, depending on your perspective. People said that they hoped that it continued to be an annual event, that they wanted to see more art and food events in the village, and maybe more public outdoor art created by locals. More events in the village, especially music, more fun, creative events. So, I mean, that was a pretty strong response. We didn't have any negative comments. So, and you know, the photographs that were taken by Sarah, I think, really captured the happiness that we saw and heard from people everywhere. So, all of that is to say thank you. And I felt like, I don't know, that I owed you a sort of a little accounting. I don't think you guys asked me to, but I wanted you to know, you know, out of the $4,000, we gave $3,000 of it to the Maker Faire. We had expected that bill to come in at $5,000. I negotiated it down a little bit as my fundraising happened, or didn't happen, depending on your perspective. And there ended up being a lot of overlap in their budget with the things that we were already spending for Steamfest. So $3,000 worked out to be the amount that we paid them, our single largest expense of the entire festival.
What did that encompass? Was
That covered really it's like their licensing fee, and just to have them there, and their whole recruiting process and their own marketing of it.
so they recruited all the folks that were at
They recruited the makers,
Ah,
with the exception of 2 that we had a hand in.
So that's important.
It is. I mean, we have some thoughts that we might do differently with the Maker Faire for next year. Anyway, and the Maker Faire also, we gave them a lot of very candid feedback. And they had indicated that they are also looking at doing things differently for their Maker Faire. Even the Champlain Maker Faire is a big one.
Mhm.
They're looking at sort of changing their model a little bit. So we're gonna reserve our commitment to bring them on again, depending on what they wanna do. Anyway, we had, the rest of it was incidentals, porta potties. Essentially the $4,000 that you guys gave us really went mostly to the expenses to run Saturday's event. It just worked out that way. With some, I can give you the actual nuts and bolts. It was $350 for porta potties, $150 for banners.
That's okay.
All right, just curious. I just wanted you to know, like, it was all spent.
Right.
So now I'm looking forward to next year, because of course everybody wants it to happen again.
Yep.
Which I probably should have anticipated that
Sure.
problem. I did not. So I am coming back to you to ask if the village would be a sponsor for the event. And specifically, I've sort of identified being a market for the artist and maker market again, because it seemed like that worked out to be, where $4,000 is appropriately spent. And that would we would be able to give you ownership, not ownership, but we'd be able to say that the Saturday market was sponsored by the village. So that is my proposal.
Okay.
Can I answer any questions?
Are you thinking, I'm sorry.
Who was the rock star lady handing out the lights at the buttons?
It's Tina Logan.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, she's a rock star
I was
lady.
just
Yeah.
curious.
Underhill Harvest Market.
Right.
So we were waiting to find out when that happens, and then we would choose whatever the weekend before or after, depending on that. I mean, I think September felt good to us.
Mhm.
I think it's a good time because, we have the block party, and then we have
Right.
the train hop coming, so it's a nice in-between thing there.
And so it felt like sort of that celebration of the end of summer. in a
Right.
way.
Yeah.
Like Friday was still summer-like.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was.
Saturday felt like winter.
Yeah, agreed, so it was a nice time slot, I'd like to see that. And probably, you pulled it off with not as much time this year, and so you'd have a whole year to really anticipate, anything that you'd need to do and anything we'd need to do. My question is, how did, so you work with village staff, did that work out okay?
Oh my gosh, yes, the village staff were
That's great.
super helpful, instrumental in a lot of ways. Thank you.
I'll pass it on.
Darby was super helpful. She and I have certainly talked, and Rick and the Public Works.
Yeah.
I've been in the truck, I've been over to.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like, I know all the secrets.
But you get swag from that.
No,
before Elaine
they
does.
did
We're in
not,
trouble.
no swag.
Okay.
No, I can tell that's very, like,
Coveted.
I got a long way to go before I do that. No, thank you for, I don't want it to feel like we need the village to do this, but it is something that is happening in the village streets, and so I don't think it's reasonable for us to do it
Yeah.
without some cooperation from the village.
Oh, definitely. It makes it way easier. It'd be, if we didn't want you to do it, it'd be really hard for you to do.
Yeah. Right. I know exactly where the pinch points are.
Well, I wanted just to say thank you and to your small group of volunteers, because I think it was pretty small.
Yeah.
And then, like George said, in this short amount of time that
Yeah.
you put it together, it was really a great event for him. Very well done, so thank you.
What about the question for the trustees, what about the question of considering sponsoring it again next year? What
Absolutely.
does everyone think about that?
You wanna say something?
Pat, did you have something to add?
Well, we're gonna be having our budget work session on the 20th, all-day session.
right.
Right.
So, and I think that, that would be an excellent time, but Laura may also wanna weigh in at this point.
Well, I have a couple of places where I think it might work, and last year we gave you some money out of one year's budget and some money out of the next year's budget.
Mhm.
And we have this budget called new programs that we took $2,500 out of it last year and $1,500 out this year, and there's $1,000 left in there, so I'm thinking that maybe that would take that out this year and then give you the 200, anyway, or we could put it into community events too. We could add to that budget because that's where the train hop is, but that would be an addition.
I think we should talk about it.
Yeah.
Just so you know, the timing
There's
of that
places.
worked out fine for
Yeah,
me.
yeah. So we could do that
Would you-
again a little bit.
We're not gonna vote on it today, then I
I don't
guess.
think we need to. Go ahead, Pat.
I was gonna say, when do you start your work and investments for the next year's activities? I know this is the first time, but
When,
what month do you start incurring expenses to?
I don't know that I can give you a confident answer about like.
Yeah, it's only been 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, like ideally a little sooner than last time, but I don't know. I
Okay.
mean, it's not January.
So we have time to talk about it and,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I'm guessing, we probably, I think as long as we generally agree that we're gonna do it, we probably don't have to nail down the specific
It's a
fund that's
great
gonna
event.
come out of it at this
Yeah,
point.
during that budget
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
we can do that.
I'm not raising it for that purpose.
Yeah.
I would love to
great.
see it continue too. It's a great event, and it's in keeping with our walkable community and focusing on our downtown business area and also bringing people together. So it's got everything all wrapped up into one, so it's a good
Yeah.
start.
Yes, great program.
And it wouldn't necessarily impact my judgment, but at some point I'd love to hear more about what you would do differently for next year, but as we get closer to.
Yeah, I actually have a lot of interesting ideas and not necessarily want them all on public record right now.
Right.
You
I'm
learn
not
it.
used to this.
His
But
name
you're
is-
smart enough to know not to say
Yeah.
some things.
His name is
Yes.
Colin, and he's sitting in the back.
So I think we probably don't even, I'm guessing we probably don't need to take a vote. I think we're probably all in agreement that, yeah, we'll support it, and
Thank you
we'll
very
figure out
much.
the specific fund and everything as we go through the year.
Thank you,
And thank you
Julie.
so much, Julie.
Very well done. Sorry, George.
That's okay. No. It's
We can
like,
share
it's a
here.
big thing here. So we are on to new business, and this is just briefly to discuss a joint meeting with the Village Planning Commission. And I think, I went to a Planning Commission meeting, and someone spoke, and in reading their minutes several times, the question of Design Five Corners, where are we with it? What does it actually mean? What do the trustees want us to do? And I think that, some of them were involved in writing the document and in the actual program. So it's saying to me that there's something below the surface that that people want to talk about in terms of direction and input, and does it need more, does it need another go-around, or do we need more research? But I think the idea is, the RPC is supposedly has this on their work program this year to incorporate the Design Five Corners into the village plan and I guess get language in it that's, and I'm probably really messing this up, that's appropriate or in sync with the land development code, but I'm not really clear on what that's all about. But again, that's one of the things we could talk about.
The CCRPC?
The CCRPC?
Into the countywide plan?
No,
the ECOS
yes,
plan.
yes,
Okay.
yes.
Because it's already in ours.
Yes, it is, but it's also like, I think that part of it is that are there changes that need to be made in the land development code, this is a question, or the village plan, that speak to the Design Five Corners? Are there other things that need to be changed or made more specific so they just support Design Five Corners? I think we also had the question of parking. I know that Robin and Darby did a parking study, but again, where that is and how that lines up with Design Five Corners, and does the planning commission, do they want to look at that? Do they want to start fleshing that out? So my thought was, instead of, Dan went and talked to them a little bit at one planning commission meeting, talking to them about.
It was like 2 weeks ago. I basically talked to some of the members of the board there about the Design Five Corner and just the projects that have been occurring in the village and potential applications down here at the Hinsdale property.
The Park Street School.
Park Street School area, where Verizon and Domino's and such are there. And just, moving forward with the suggestions and the Design Five Corner plan that we came up with the charrette and everything.
So it just seemed to me, but instead of these sort of incidental conversations and someone saying something in minutes, it might be a good time for us to sit down as the two boards. We appoint them, and we don't see them very often. So for us to sit down relatively soon and just have a discussion, and what are the questions that they might have for us? What are questions that we have for them? Obviously, we're not talking about any specific applications or anything like that. But generally, the whole question of, what are the issues that they're seeing that they may need our help with, that we could do something about. And so I'm going to guess that would be okay with you. We've got a busy schedule coming up. I don't know when we'd squeeze this in. That would be one of the questions. When should we do this? And then also the setting. Do we want to have them come to a trustee meeting? Do we want to go to a planning commission meeting? Do we want a special meeting? Do we want to meet here? Do we want to meet in a less formal setting? Thoughts?
Do they have any applications coming up? Do they have meetings scheduled?
Yeah, they've got an active, I think they've got a couple of active applications right now.
So it might be better to maybe invite them to a standing trustee meeting, or?
Yeah, I think we've done that in the past and it's worked
We
well. And I think, I know you talking about Design Five Corners, but what might be helpful, especially with the standing trustee meeting, with the camera here, to have an overview of
Yes.
Design Five Corners. It's been a
Yes.
long time since we've pulled it out of the
Reintroduce
closet.
it.
There's some new planning commission, at least one new planning commission member since we've done it, maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the public's eyes back on it too.
Okay.
So do that and then go into the other various topics that you talked about.
Okay, that's a good plan. You'd have them come to a trustee meeting?
I think so.
Okay. And I just can't see this happening in December. Can you, or what are we talking about? So we're talking January? So sometime in January, when we see an opportunity? Okay. Okay, so I think that would be it, Mary Ann. We just generally would want them to come to a scheduled trustee meeting. And it would be sometime possibly in January, maybe February. And I'll work with the manager and with Robin, the community development director, to look at their schedule and look at ours and try to figure out some possible times.
Great,
Thank you very much.
thanks for that.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, good idea.
Okay, so we are now on to the manager's report.
Yes. The I'd like to talk to you a little bit about a budget discussion I've had in the town with the IT department and the cost impacts of having all of the new people become part of the village employee from the recreation department and its impact on demand for IT services. And one of the thoughts that I had was perhaps having a shared position, who would be help desk oriented, low on the cost totem pole, high on meeting demand as it comes in. So I'd like to talk to you folks about that, and I think since we're gonna be talking about the budget on the 20th, I would ask you to start thinking about that as a possibility. It's very difficult to get part-time IT people.
Yeah.
So the question that needs to be asked and answered is, do we have enough demand between the two of us to sponsor a full-time help desk person? I'm sorry this discussion was held while you were waiting for an airplane.
What can I say?
Well,
We're funding a new position.
Well, I'm putting it out there. What happens to it, I don't want to predict at this point, but I just wanted you to start thinking about that as a consequence of what happened last August, August before last, whenever it occurred. And then I've got a topic that I'm glad we're ready for personnel executive session, because I have a topic to discuss with you that can only, at this point, be discussed in executive session regarding evaluation of public officials. And the trustees' meeting schedule, as always. And I've been up to here now with budget meetings, because it is the season.
Right.
And also trying to figure out what it is I need to do before I leave that makes sense. And that's what I've been doing, so.
Pat, can I just ask a question about
Sure.
the computer usage? So now that we have all the EGRP folks on the village budget, and they're using village IT, so there's a big increase in the amount of help requests, or
Well, yeah,
device
we're
access?
sort
or-
of, yeah, the impact for us, the IT department has grown, exponentially with the new people who have lots of things to worry about now that were all done and managed by the
That school
IT
district.
folks in the
Yeah,
school
who did,
district.
is that who was through the school district? Brad didn't have anyone
Right.
No.
like that staff. at
So,
GRP, okay.
and we have talked about this when we met with Brad on the village budget side a little bit, and so we're trying to have a smooth transition and not have anything, be a big surprise or a big backup in the ability to keep everything running smoothly. So we're getting more hardware, more software requests from more people, and that's good. That's good. It's just, we want to be sure how to manage it, and might clear up a little bit in the executive session.
Okay, great, thank you.
When are we gonna decide about the December 26th meeting? Just asking for
This would be
travel
a good,
purposes.
this would be a good time.
Now is a good time.
Let's not do it.
Let's not do it.
Okay, we'll just cross that right off.
It really help with family relations in my house.
Yeah, a December 26th meeting does seem a little
Yeah.
Well,
unfortunate
it's a
time.
holiday for
it's
the
a village holiday
employees.
too.
Oh, it's a village holiday?
Oh.
Oh, okay.
Didn't
Okay.
know that, okay.
That's,
So we won't be doing it, but be aware that
But you did talk about the 28th, didn't you? Did you
oh, we
talk-
did?
Well,
November 28th or December 28th?
well,
December.
I thought it was December 28th. When we talked about delaying the decision on the 26th, somebody, and I'm sure it wasn't me, mentioned something about the 27th or 28th as a substitute for the 26th.
That
If
works
you-
even
if-
worse.
If we needed
Come
a
back to the
meeting,
26th.
if we needed a
Cancel that
meeting.
one.
Why don't I make I'll make a suggestion. We're meeting on the 12th. We'll have a better sense of where we are for the rest of the month at that point. Why don't we not schedule anything? I mean, we've got
And
Yeah.
then we're meeting on the 20th.
all
too.
day, we're meeting on the
Yeah,
20th, so
That's right.
we've got 2 meetings before then, but on the 12th, I mean, we'd have to know before the 20th if we were gonna do something before the end of the month. But Let's wait and see what shakes out for the next week or so.
Okay.
Lauren says there's nothing we absolutely have to do by the end of every.
There it is.
Oh, well, there we go.
Not in my department.
Yeah, exactly,
But-
so,
But, yeah, we have time. We have
okay.
time.
For whatever it's worth, I'm out of town the 26th.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's gonna be an extremely inconvenient time for just about
Yes.
everybody,
Yes,
so,
it would be.
yeah, okay, okay.
Thank you.
All
Thank
righty.
you for remembering.
While we're on that note, now, everybody, since we're gonna, I just wanna make sure all the trustees understand what's gonna happen on Saturday. Everybody have their packets, their information for the interview on Saturday morning.
When do we find out who we're actually interviewing?
Yeah.
Because I'd like to, like, I mean, I've read over all of it, but I really want to dig into the 3 that we're interviewing.
Yeah,
Right.
we asked, Travis asked that question, Dawn responded, I read it and I promptly forgot it. So I will tell you when we get home. I'll make sure everybody, I was gonna write everybody a note explaining where the resumes are and all the information is. It's on a link that goes to Dropbox. So I was gonna just remind everybody of that, and I'll put that information in there, tomorrow.
Okay.
Well, I mean, at the absolute soonest, we're talking late Friday
Friday night,
afternoon,
right?
late
Yeah.
Friday, yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Right.
So, I mean,
Maybe,
I don't know if we're gonna find out, I think it's either, do we find out Friday night or Saturday morning?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
So could he potentially text us when, so I'm, first of all, I want to thank everyone, you're accommodating me, I'm Skyping in.
Yeah.
So I have a event Friday night. If we get them Friday, and, I don't want to be checking my emails all night, but I'd like to know that we're getting
Okay,
them.
okay, well,
Just,
yeah,
I don't want to go into an interview not having
Gotcha,
really
no.
looked through.
yeah,
And I
gotcha,
don't want to find out Saturday morning.
No, I
Yeah,
don't either.
gotcha.
That's not okay.
yeah, okay. Okay. Yep. Then we'll figure out a way to get everybody to know Friday night,
Thanks.
okay? Alrighty. On to anyone else, trustees, any other questions? On to the reading file.
Oh, wait, no, did we do board member, I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, board member comments. Go ahead, Lori.
Sorry, I have one. So, we just had a farmer's market board meeting for the first time in a year. So as you all know, we took the year off, and we all really thought about having that year off. I have to admit, I really enjoyed, after 7 years, having my Friday nights free. But we really missed it. And Julie, who was our market manager, came to us with some ideas at the meeting. So we have voted to try to bring it back. It will be not in the same place. It will not be on Friday nights. That is all we know now. So we're not bringing it back to what it was. We're going to try and do something different. And when I say we reorganized the board. So we need to have a president, a treasurer, and a secretary. And so Julie is now the board president. Tony Morgan has stayed as secretary, and I'm going to stay as treasurer
Fantastic.
until we find a focus, get more people involved, and move forward. So we're moving forward. Whether or not we'll have a market in June, we'll see. But we're moving forward. I've asked Lauren, and we can talk about it on the 20th, but I've asked her to keep the budget money in for the farmer's market.
Yep.
We had a lot of people understand why we took the year off, but we had a lot of people
Didn't understand.
who really missed it. And interestingly, we had a lot of new people move to the community who said, well, I thought there was a market. So, and then we had a few who said, oh, I didn't make it to any of the markets this year. So it went.
And you should
It
have.
was really embarrassing when I had to say, well, we didn't have it. So it was a gamut, but we think there's a lot more people walking in the community. There's a lot more people on about with Steam Fest, all the things that are going on. We think it would be good to try it. So that's the latest on that.
Okay. Thank you, Lori. Thank you for staying in there and hanging in.
Oh, good. Oh,
No.
oh okay.
Any other board member comments? We good? I think we had a very extremely light reading file,
Yeah.
so we're on to the consent agenda.
Will we approve the consent agenda?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. And so we are now going to move on to an executive session. We have several personnel issues to discuss, so I will move that the trustees enter into executive session to discuss the personnel matters in accordance with 1 VSA Section 313A3, and to invite the village attorney and village manager to attend.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we'll take a short recess. Thank you.